Hello and welcome to the Up Close and Personal Trainer podcast. She's back. It's Shona Denovan. Woo!
Woo! And the crowd go wild.
Hi everyone, I'm back. It's been a hot minute. I bet you've all missed me. There's been so many requests on the Commit to Six.
Oh, we've been inundated.
Yeah.
Do you know what? Genuinely, this week, 2 people asked in the check-ins.
No way.
Yeah. And someone was even like, is Shona okay? And I was like, yeah.
No, she's
still
not
alive.
okay, but she's still alive.
No, but she never has been okay. So
Never been okay. Oh, that's so nice. I am okay. I'm still alive. I'm here. I'm back on the podcast because Emma's decided.
have you just heard about the announcements?
Yeah, so I've seen that there's announcements for England, but is there any announcements for us?
Oh, I don't know.
I don't know.
I was just going to get that information from you.
The
I
only
don't
one
know.
that
I
I've
think
seen
Nicola's got something up her sleeve for us.
Oh, wee Nicola, what's she gonna do? I think personally that she's gonna put a curfew on us, which will not affect me in any way whatsoever.
So
I'm in my
I
bed.
don't think I've been out past 10 o'clock like in the last year anyways.
No. And I can't think of anyone that is out at past 10 o'clock that is not being naughty. Apart from taxi drivers. But everyone else,
Yeah.
get back inside.
Get yourself inside.
I don't think she'll close gyms again. I don't think she'll close bars and restaurants again. Come on, Nicola.
let's
Please
hope
don't.
Dinny.
Do you have any idea what it's going to be?
I'm hoping that. Some of it is like, oh my god, this, and I'm like, I haven't been doing that anyway. I didn't know we were allowed to do that. Like, like more enforced social distancing. I'm like, I thought we were doing that anyway.
Yeah.
And then, like, not going out after 10 o'clock. Well, I wasn't doing that anyway, so...
Did we talk about this before? I think we possibly did, but there's like a South American country where on like Monday, Wednesday, Friday, men are allowed out. Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, women are allowed out.
No.
Isn't that such a good idea?
What? Is this for COVID or is this just like...
No. This is just for COVID. That's not just life in this South American country. No, it's like you're only allowed out, like only women. I remember it was like women get the Saturdays, men get the Fridays and Sundays.
The thing is, that wouldn't work here because there'd just be uproar about who's a woman, who's a man, who's identifying as what today, and...
Right, okay.
It's not as clear cut. Whereas what would be quite clear cut is just old people have to stay inside. I'll count myself. I'll be an old person. Like
people over 30. No, you'd be out.
That'd be me out.
You're a youngin. You're a youngin. Can I tell you, like, completely unrelated to what we're talking about, but I feel like it's quite a cheerful story and it might cheer you up. Do you want to hear this?
I would love that. Thank you.
Yeah. Right, so the other day I was on a walk with my dog and I went into the Botanic Gardens in Glasgow, which are in the West End, really beautiful. And you have to keep your dog on a lead. That part of the story is not relevant. It's just a really nice park and it's really busy. So went in the main entrance.
Just a public service announcement. Anyone who is going, please keep your dog on the lead. Thank you.
So walked in the main entrance. Really busy day. There's like kids and stuff playing.
You know what I keep thinking about right now is the story you told about your friend who had to poo outside.
Yeah, because that also happened in the Botanic Gardens.
Was that where it was?
Yes.
Oh.
This story is...
And that is why you should keep your dog on the lead.
Because it might eat my friend's poo. No, this story is much more wholesome and doesn't involve poo. So, I walked
remember the really long poo.
Oh my god. Right, do you know we should do like a best bits of the Up Close of your podcast?
Or just one that's just all about poo.
Yeah.
It's probably enough content. Anyway, sorry, continue your story.
No, thank you. Right, so walked in, first bench at the entrance, the busiest part of the park. There was a man probably about my age sat there, and he was in a suit, and had a laptop, and he was like typing away on the laptop, like looked like a young professional. And there was a squirrel sat on his shoulder. And he was like just typing away. There was people walking around, and I was like, am I going mad? Why is no one reacting to this man with a squirrel on his shoulder? And I was like, excuse me, you've got a squirrel on your shoulder. And he was like, oh yeah, I know. And it turned out like he had a big jacket on, and he had a bag full of peanuts in his pocket, and he brings it to the park every day to like just sit and do work. And the squirrel has like fallen in love with him, and the squirrel was like on his shoulder, climbing his pocket, sitting on his knee, eating the nut. It was the most wholesome thing I've ever seen.
And imagine if you were like, excuse me, you've got a squirrel. Say squirrel again. Squirrel. You've got a squirrel on your shoulder.
On your shoulder.
And then he was like, oh my God.
I'm so fearful of squirrels.
Did he have a name?
The squirrel or the man?
Both.
I did not learn either of them. They probably both did have names. But yeah, I just thought that was like a really wholesome story. And yeah, probably what we all need right now is just wholesome stories about nature and squirrels and things like that, you know?
That would have never happened if we hadn't gone into lockdown.
You're so right. You're so right.
Yeah.
Would it happen? I thought you were going to say that would never happen in Dundee.
Probably be a pigeon. Not quite the same.
Right, everyone listen.
And then someone would be like, excuse me, you've got a pigeon on your shoulder.
You're like,
probably be drunk and half dead.
Emma's like, that's my friend. That's my friend, my pigeon. It's my pet pigeon.
My friend Pidgeotto, the pigeon. Did I tell you that I rescued a pigeon when I was younger?
Wow. Tell me. No, you didn't.
Yeah, it had been run over, and I took it home. I just finished swimming, so I had a towel, and I wrapped it in my towel, and I took it on the bus, and I took it home, and my parents let me keep it, and I like nursed it back to health, and it was called Pidgeotto. And then my mum was like, I think we should leave it out just to see how it is, like if it can fly now, and we just leave it out while you go to school. Dog ate it.
Your dog?
Yeah.
Oh, that's heartbreaking.
I know, but it was really smelly and gross. I don't know why my parents let me keep it. It was the most disgusting thing.
That's another reason not to have children. So can you imagine, like, you've just had a really busy, stressful day, and then your child comes home with a half-dead pigeon? Can we nurse it back to health, mummy? No, put it in the back garden, let the dog eat it.
Yeah, that's probably what they should have said, but they were like, yeah, sure, just keep it in the shed. Okay, I have a question for you. This has been a thought that I had been thinking, obviously, and I listened to a podcast a couple of weeks ago, and it was talking about this, and I can't remember the details of it, but then I listened to something else yesterday, and I was like, oh, that is really interesting. So, do you think people can change? And then do you think that anything is fixed? So the initial podcast I heard this on was like interviewing people at the start who were just about to get married. And they'd ask like, oh, what do you love about your husband to be or your wife to be? And they would normally say something like, she's just so kind and she's funny and caring and like all these things that we think are like long-lasting attributes of someone. And then the podcast goes on to explain like the science behind why actually not even your personality is fixed. So anything can change. And as much as people are like, oh well, looks fade, like so do many things, including like who you are, how you think, your experiences obviously shape things. And it's funny because we almost pick and choose what we want to believe from that concept, as in we'd want to believe that like, oh, Shona's always going to have the same morals that she does, and she's always going to be funny, and she's always going to be kind, and she's always going to be compassionate. But yet we don't want to believe, but then at the same like time we're like, oh, don't have a fixed mindset. You can change anything about yourself if you put your mind to it. Now obviously you wouldn't want to change those good qualities of yourself.
Mm-hmm.
But the fact is those things can change as well, and normally do change as well.
Mm-hmm.
And then if you think about, okay, like, are you the same person in a broad sense, and then like let's talk about in any sense, as you were 5 years ago or 10 years ago?
Oh, that's so interesting. I've got so many thoughts on that. So the first thing that came to mind was I've been listening to Catherine Ryan's podcast. She's a comedian. Do you know who that is? She's just
No.
brought out this show on Netflix called Duchess, right? Anyway, she's really funny. And I was listening to her podcast just there and thinking, she's so funny and so clever. And like I kind of want to be like her, but it would be too obvious to like just overnight become like her. And I was thinking maybe I could just really slowly become like her and then people wouldn't notice as much. So that was my first reaction to what you're saying. And then second of all, Paul and I were having this conversation recently. So we've been together for 9 years. And then there's like that idea that, which is so not true, that everyone has a soulmate, because there's billions of people in the world. And you could probably...
You've just so happened to find the one person that also lives in Glasgow.
I know. So probably like there's lots of different people that you could actually spend the rest of your life with. It just so happens that we were in the same place and we had the same values at the time. But then once you've been with someone for a really long time, what you love about them is the shared experiences that you've had together. And the way, like, we are definitely not the same people that we were when we first met, but it's the experiences that we've had together and not together that have changed us and made us who we are, for the better or for the
Because
worse.
you grow together.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what I love about him, rather than like, well, yeah, of course I love who he's become and who he is becoming, but at the same time, like, the shared experiences is like what we have in common. So, but then
this is interesting because you see people like you guys who've obviously grown together, shared experiences, that's made your bond stronger.
Mm-hmm.
But then you also see like almost the opposite of like, we've just grown apart, you know, and like maybe maybe they've been together like 10, 20 years, but for some reason like what would normally like make you grow together has made someone grow apart. Maybe like, I don't know what, like whether that's just the way things are, or if there's like certain things like, because you guys, I don't know. Yeah.
It could be Stockholm syndrome.
What do you mean?
Like, that's us stuck together now, like we're trapped, and then you start to like fall in love with the person who's trapped you. Or it could
But I mean, you sometimes get like, not so much that, but like the whole sunk cost fallacy, where you think, oh, do you know what, we've been together 9 years, you know, it'd be too hard to start again, and do you know what, I want to have kids, I'm approaching 30, if I start again, that means I need to be with someone at least a couple of years before I feel comfortable enough to then know that they're the person I want to have kids with, blah 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 blah. And then you can just think, nah, this person will do, I've put in this much time, don't want to waste that time.
Yeah, apparently I heard this statistic, that's a really hard word to say, the other day, that there's 18 months between the time that you actually think that you want to divorce and that divorce actually happening. That's such a long time. And I think it probably...
What, so do you mean the time between like in your head when you're like, I'm not sure this is working, and the time when you say I want a divorce?
Yeah.
Or do you mean, all right, because
one.
then it's a lot longer after that. I think you have to be separated for like a year.
Yeah. Oh god, it sounds like a horrible long process, but no, 18 months between like the first little inkling that something's not right in your relationship and you actually saying, I don't want to be with you anymore. And it's probably
that's an interesting statistic, because I think that must be so individual. Like
But
I think just like when you know, you know.
yeah, but that's you. That's you.
Yeah. And
Like,
also I can't fake anything. I'm like, oh, you're stuck. Like, no, I just couldn't do it. As soon as I like was like, no, I'd be like, I'm gone.
uh-huh.
But then I think, and I was listening to something the other day about decisions and about like how you make decisions. And then I heard something and I was like, oh, this is so poignant. So the word decision comes from decide. I know, mind blowing, right?
How fancy
But
that?
decide means, I think it's French or Latin, to basically it means to cut off. So the whole idea behind this is when you make a decision, what most people do is they make like what I would term like a soft decision, like, oh yeah, I might go vegan, but the reason that they never stick to it is because it's not a hard decision. They've not cut off all other things. Like once you go vegan, there is no other options than to eat vegan food,
Mhm.
right? That would be a like solid decision. But most people are just like, yeah, I might try it for a couple of weeks or maybe a little bit less or maybe a few days, or actually I might start tomorrow. And that's when you get into the territory of like decision fatigue. And I've done podcasts about how 100% is easier than 98% because you don't have to keep making that decision again and again and again. You make the decision once, you stick to it, and you cut off all the other decisions. And that's like the best way to make a decision. Why am I talking? Oh yeah, because that's how that like ideally if you knew you were going to break up with someone or you knew you wanted a divorce, like that's how it should be, instead of like tantalizing yourself with, oh, what if this, what if that, or like thinking about it for 2 years. Imagine how much brain energy that would take up. And it's probably not fair on them either,
No.
being hung along for 2 years.
Yeah, I assume as well there's like so many more factors as well that you would need to consider. Like you might have joint commitments, children, house, bills, all that stuff that makes the whole decision so much harder. I'm trying to relate this to fitness. I know that you always love to do that, but
Oh well, this is easy
it's
relatable to
so easy.
fitness, like
Yeah.
in terms of like decisions.
Hmm.
Like that's what makes it easier to stick to a diet, is that if you, that's why we always say like plan ahead.
Hmm.
Once you've made that decision once, you don't need to think about it all the time. You don't need to sit down at every meal and think, oh, what am I going to have, or can I have a little bit more of this or a little bit less of this, or whereas if you've planned out your day or your week, same with training, like, oh, I could go to the gym now, or I might go later, or maybe I'll just go tomorrow. No, no, no. It's in the diary. You go on a Monday, you go at this time.
Mm.
That decision has been made for you. And then you just need to follow through.
Hmm.
Not poo yourself, but do the thing you said you were gonna do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's really interesting. We've kind of veered off like what you initially were
Yeah,
talking.
go back to it.
Yeah,
Do
because
you think you're different than you were 5 years ago?
100%, yeah, like
Do
totally
you
different.
think you would like, if you met yourself 5 years ago, would you like them?
Well, I always like to, especially right now, this is something I'm working on, is self-compassion. And I think that I would have to really like, yeah, absolutely. I like that person because that person's got me to who I am right now. Like the decisions she made 5 years ago led to me being this person. Um, and also like if you don't like the person 5 years ago, then how can you like this person now? You know
Well,
what
because you've changed. I think you cannot like yourself previously, because like let's say you've realized that you used to be a very selfish person. Like
I'm
we've spoken about this before. Like, what was the initial thing we used to talk about? Languages of love and things like
oh
that,
yeah,
or
yeah.
like, oh, I'm an inherently X person, or I'm an inherently, what did we used to say? What were we talking
Oh, is it
about?
like
I remember how.
secure, like attachment type?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. So it'd be like, oh, I'm an avoidant. That's just me. I can't change. That's just my personality type.
Mhm.
No, like you that's a self-fulfilling prophecy. You don't want to change.
Mhm.
Whereas you might notice that in yourself, okay, I am an avoidant. I don't treat people as well as maybe I could treat them.
Mhm.
That's something I want to change about myself. I wouldn't necessarily mean that you didn't like yourself then, I guess, but equally it means that maybe you're like a better version of yourself now.
Yeah, but at the same time, I don't think I'm fully there yet. And I don't think I'll ever feel that I'm fully there yet. Like, I'll always think there's something I can improve on, there's something I can develop, because it would actually be quite a sad place and a very limiting
Yeah,
place.
sorry, I'm perfect now.
Exactly.
There's nothing I can improve
It's only taken me 31 years, but I'm here, guys. I'm perfect.
on. Now I just have to not change for the rest of my life.
Yeah,
I think that would be even harder.
not changing.
Not change. But also I think you go through different phases of your life. Like, depending on like where you are in your career, where you are in your relationships, where you are like in terms of having a family, and like where your kids are in the future and things like that. I think there's different stages of your life where you can place different efforts in different parts. Like, one thing James Clear talks about is having, and I don't totally agree with this, but let me talk you through it, and I can get your thoughts on it. But basically you have 4 different burners, like on a hob. You've got 4 places where you put the pan. Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
Yeah, a hob. Right. So you've got work, family, I think the other one was friends, work, family, friends, health. And he says that you can't have all of these burning at the same time, like not burning like maximally at the same time. So some of them have to just be simmering along. Okay. And he was saying that there's various different ways of thinking about this. Either you pick what priorities you have, or you can think of your life as like seasons. And I quite like that. So it was like, okay, I always think like throughout your 20s is kind of like quote unquote hustling. Like, you're going to work hard, build a career, and then and that doesn't, not how it always works out, but that might be that you're like, okay, well, during this point in my life, like for me, I'm single. I still want to take care of my health. After that, like, it sounds awful to be like, oh, friends and family don't matter to me. Like, that isn't true at all. But where my emphasis is placed is probably more on work and health at the moment. That does sound quite bad. But anyway, like, these seasons could completely change, or it might even be within the same year. It might be, okay, for the next 4 months or for the next month, what's really important to me is the next deadline I have coming up. Or for the next month, actually, God forbid, like one of my family members gets ill. That's changing to my focus. So the point is that, like, his point was that you only have so much time, effort, and emotion, and you can only put it into certain places at certain times. But when I started thinking about that, I think, like, if I put all my effort into work wouldn't be better. Like, if you sacrifice your health, then you're not going to work harder because you're going to feel like hell. If you then have no like support from friends or family, you're not going to work harder. Like, I think all of them lead into each other. They all ignite each other's flames. Oh, that was poetic. But it is an interesting way to look at it. Like, some people are so, well, I guess this was more an observation of, like, is this self-help? But like all these theories and stuff about where you place your time and effort and all this, but like you can pick apart any of them. Like, I don't know if that's true. Put your time and effort into these certain areas. I actually think that you need a good balance of all of them all the time, and there might be certain like days or weeks or months where maybe work has to take a backseat for something else, or like there's a, I don't know, there's a family crisis, so that has to come first.
Yeah. I think it's also quite easy for a man to say that, like a man to say, I can switch off this, I can turn down the heat on the family friends one and turn up the heat on the work one. Like, that's really easy. Like, what if you're someone that has children, someone that has commitments? You can't turn the heat off that. Like, you have to keep that going.
So but a man can, but a woman can't.
Well, yeah,
what if a man has
it's really easy for James Clear to say that. Like, you can turn the heat down on one thing and he can like turn his heat up on the other. Do you know what I mean? Because like there's some people that have all 4 burners going all the time, and if they take one off, then something's gonna explode. Like, they have to have them all going.
Yeah. The stir fry is gonna get burnt.
Yeah, I with these things, it's really interesting to hear someone's theory on it. and that's the beauty of all these different like self-help books, is that some things totally work for someone and it really clicks. You're like, wow, yep, that's speaking to me. I totally identify with that. And then other ones are just like, no. Because I mean, everyone loves Brené Brown apart from you.
I would say I don't love her. Well, no, I don't love her. But what I think a lot of people get very easily caught up in, and I mean, like, the same will be true potentially for people that listen to this or like our podcast, is that it's very easy to get in someone's headspace. So like, I read the James Clear thing, and initially I was like, yeah, this makes perfect sense. Like, I completely get it. I get these options. I get that, like, that's probably how things work. And like, realistically, like, this is probably quite accurate. And then after a couple of days, I was like, just still thinking about it. And I was like, that actually don't think that, or more from, I think it comes from discussing these things with people. So I spoke to a couple of mates. I was like, oh, this is like a theory. What are your thoughts on this? And usually it comes from you explaining it to someone else, that you can see the holes in it. And you're like, actually, now that I'm saying it out loud, maybe that isn't the case. But most people don't have those kind of discussions, and most people don't question. So someone might listen to Brené Brown and be like, well, one, no one's questioning her on her podcast, right? So it's only from one point of view.
Yeah.
And then two, you might not question her. And then three, like, a lot of people think, well, who am I to question her? I don't have a degree in this. I haven't spent years and years researching this topic. Fine, but it doesn't mean you don't have thoughts to put across.
Yeah.
And that none of these things, this is one thing that I think people really need to take home when they're looking at like self-help books, is that these are theories that, like, one, should be questioned, and also none of them are right. None of them. Like, there's no evidence to support these theories, because you can't test these theories.
No.
They might work for you at certain points of your life, and they might be useful ways of looking at things in certain situations, but you can't really test them. Like, if we go back to the whole like decision thing, when I was reading about that, I was like, I love this. I love the way that, like, it's like, make one decision, blah blah blah. But one of the examples was someone who had decided to never eat sugar again. Never. And I was like, is that a good decision? Or would it be better to have moderation so that you could still enjoy a piece of cake if you wanted it? And that's obviously what we promote as coaches, is this moderation thing. But then if you use that one theory, this sort of like 100% decision theory, where you're like, this is a hard decision, I'm never going to think about it again, that's it, done for the rest of my life, then like, that doesn't fit in certain situations. Like, I wouldn't say it fits in nutrition, but it might fit with other things, and it might fit for you in certain situations. And yeah, interesting, but like, it has to be questioned, I think.
Absolutely. Yeah, you're so right. But I mean, like, that's just the nature of like this popular psychology thing that's happening right now. Like, everyone's wanting to know, why am I the way I am? Because like COVID is ruining our mental health. And then all these like books are coming out, and people are like, yes, this is it. Like, I subscribe to this. But you're right, you need to always look at these things critically, don't you?
Yeah, and then part of me is like, would they work if they weren't said as fact? Like, you know how these are all said as like, okay, this is how your life is. You have these 4 important things. You can only do like, and put so much effort into each one, and you will always have to compromise, blah, blah, blah. If it was like, you might have to, this might be in a way kind of how things work, but we're not really sure.
Yeah.
It's the same with like when we give out coaching advice. Sometimes you need just like, if you do these things, you will get this result. And there can often be like too many options, which is basically why you come to a coach, right? So that you're taking away the other options. Do this and you'll get results. And yes, you're obviously going to discuss that, and you're going to work with your coach to amend it when needed. But what like the problem with a lot of people is that there's too many options and they don't know which one to pick. And I don't know if it would work if we were like, well, you know, like, not sure of ourselves. Like, you have to be quite sure of yourself, or no one really will listen to you.
Yes. I mean, you could say anything. Like, I've got this client, he's like, it's something that he's really proud of, is that he can like have an opinion and sound like he knows things about any subject. Like, you'll literally give him any subject and he can bullshit you on it. That is a real skill, isn't it?
But it's also why zealots do so well.
Yeah.
Because there might be someone like us putting out information and being like, this is really interesting information, but there's not yet enough research to definitively say this is the right thing to do. Whereas someone who's like, low carb is my life, they'll be like, the only way to eat is low carb. There is no other way. Carbs do not exist anymore. Yeah. Like they're so sure of themselves, and that's attractive. If someone can say to you 100%, if you don't eat carbs, you'll lose weight. No questions asked. Like, well, actually, I could probably say that. But anyway, like, I think it's the being sure of yourself. Plus, I think I probably have that skill. Maybe not on anything. Mm-hmm. But you can, like, chat a load of crap and just make it sound like you know what you're talking about.
Yeah, you're so right. You're so right.
Okay, back to that.
Well, we've veered off it again. So what do you think are the things that change you then?
Probably experiences, but I also think massively the people that you hang around with.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like what's getting in your head, probably everything you consume, like not just your friends.
Yeah.
But also like podcasts, what you read, who you surround yourself with, what you watch on TV, like everything really.
Mm-hmm. Where you go, where you spend most of your time, the countries you've visited. Yeah, absolutely. I think it's really important to change. Like it would be, as you said, it would be really hard to stay the same. But then if you think about it, if you look at people that you went to school with and you see them and they are the exact same person, you kind of feel a bit sorry for them, don't you think?
Yeah. You know that it's normally a negative. You know, if I was like, you've changed. Like that's always meant to be a negative. Like you would never have done this before. You've changed. And actually, like, yeah, you've not seen me for 10 years. Like, of course I've changed. And actually that's a good thing. Like I would like to think I've changed for the better. Yeah. Even if like that individual maybe doesn't think so. Mm-hmm.
I think when someone says it to you, it's because you are more than what you were before, or you're like bigger than, and they liked that before they could put you in the box, they could control you, they could do this, but no, you're actually like bigger now. You can stand up for yourself. You've changed.
You've changed.
Changed.
Why, thank you.
Thanks.
So anyway, at the end of that podcast, they came back to the people that were about to get married and basically told them all this information about how the things that you love about the person you're about to marry will probably change. It was so romantic.
Yeah, like literally, I love his hair. Well, his hair will one day fall out.
No, but it was more like, oh, I just love how kind she is. And it's like, well, this research says that most people don't stay
Gonna be a bitch one day. She'll get old and grumpy. Don't get used to it. You like his name? Oh, well, he'll change his name. Get used to it.
Yeah, that's going to change as well. Just so you know. No point getting married.
You like his nose? It'll get bigger. All old men get big noses. Fact.
Oh. And then when he wants to divorce you, he'll wait 18 months to do so. You'll be strung along for the 18 months.
I think that this study was like completed
some
by
really pissed off divorcees.
Yeah, exactly. People like, marriage? You think you love them? Think again.
Oh, marriage is quite scary though. I didn't realize all the financial things. Are you signing a prenup?
Well, I already have a will, so we'll probably just get that like looked at again.
Ooh, you know what I mean? Okay, so no, but my point is that the will doesn't count if you don't die. Just so you know, like, not sure how you.
What? Like, the only two options are like me and Paul stay married or I die. Exactly. Come on.
Yeah. Yeah. I feel like on a practical level, prenups are like no brainer, but also the most unromantic thing. I
Mhm.
don't know if I would want to get married to someone if they were like, by the way, we need to sign this for when we break up. Like, but then equally, like, you would bloody wish that you had.
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah, you're totally right. Do you know Cardi B just
Maybe
got
you should
divorced?
speak to Cardi B.
Cardi B, she just got divorced.
Oh,
I feel really
that
sorry for her because like I think Cardi B's like one of the most interesting people in the world right now. Like she is like come on WAP.
why?
WAP.
All right.
Plus do you follow her on Instagram?
No.
Her daughter's called Culture with a K. She's just
Oh
like
wow.
she's just really interesting and
Do you
hilarious.
know what I watched yesterday?
What?
Paris Hilton documentary.
Oh, she just put on her YouTube, hasn't she? She
Mm.
looks amazing. She looks so good, doesn't she? Or do you not think so? The silence speaking volumes. She's also got a really good she's got like a cooking tutorial how to make lasagna on her YouTube
Does
channel.
she?
Yeah, she does.
She doesn't look like the kind of girl that eats a lot of lasagna.
No, she doesn't. And it's a really like it's quite like a calorific recipe. But it is absolutely hilarious, so you should watch it.
Oh, I might have a watch actually. I'm quite a big fan.
Mm-hmm.
It's
Oh,
quite deep documentary.
Emma, what age are you? 28.
28.
Good news. You could qualify as Wayne Lineker's new girlfriend.
Oh. Right. Okay.
Right, okay,
Let's read
okay.
this out. I was looking for the. Have you got the tweet? Do you want me to find it?
I could find it quite quickly.
I think I retweeted it.
You did. So if anyone's not aware of like basically what's happened with Wayne Lineker is Gary Lineker's brother. He's 58. He's just put a post on his Instagram a week ago, advertising for a girlfriend. And
Okay, I've got it, but I think that it will sound better if you read it out.
okay, right, here we go. So my family have decided I need a girlfriend for my own sanity and health. So here's my criteria. Okay, let's start this off like I'm normal. Strong, nice, loving personality. Tick. Now to more important things. You must like older men, but only me. You have to be a worldie and above 30. Okay, 28, 29 could work, but not my age, as that would just look weird. You must like to travel and to fly business class and stay in incredible hotels. Be prepared to give up your career or job, or at least be able to work from a laptop on a tropical beach somewhere. This is
Oh,
why I actually
tick.
think he would be ideal for you, Emma. He would be absolutely perfect. Like you love traveling. You can work from your laptop. You're 28, so like it would work. There was another couple of things here.
Yeah. I
Um,
mean, there's a slight issue that he's a man.
oh, but I mean, you could probably have a
I
girlfriend.
don't imagine he was looking for like. I'm pretty sure I could get away with never having sex with him.
How? I'm like, oh, how do you do that? Anyway, yeah, there's just another couple of things. You must love the gym, health, food, and have body definition, as he will soon as well. And you've got body definition.
I've got body definition. I've never heard it called that before, but yeah.
Can you imagine someone's like, "Hi Emma,
I definitely have a body.
and it has a different, it is defined."
I have now defined it.
Yes. So yeah, he's 58. Do you know what? It's not the worst. Like he's only looking for a girl half his age, so it's not the worst. I mean, Leonardo DiCaprio has a girlfriend who's 19.
That's disgusting.
I think that's disgusting, and no one blinks an eye.
Also, like, what mental age do you have that you can date a 19-year-old?
Like, can you?
I couldn't date a 19-year-old.
No, I know, that's what I was going to say. You're 28. Could you date a 19-year-old? No, they're idiots. They're like literally, they're just not into the same things as you. They don't. Have you ever talked to an 18-year-old or a 19-year-old recently? It's impossible. Like you're speaking different languages.
Yeah.
So yeah, but then the thing is, like, see, there's this woman, she's like a director, and she was like in her 40s, and she married this boy who was 19. His name's like Aaron Tyler something. And everyone honestly lost it. Everyone was like, no, she can't, no, she can't do that. Meanwhile, men are doing it every day. And like, we don't complain. Leonardo DiCaprio, still loved by everyone, still a legend, has a 19-year-old girlfriend, which is, I would say, really weird.
Really weird.
Really weird.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right, continue, because there's more criteria.
Was there? Right, okay. Oh, give me a second. I'm back on the picture of him. He does look 58. So,
yeah.
A dog is acceptable, but will need a passport. You must be able to cook, as I love cooking, especially Waitrose ready-made meals. You also don't need to be verified. I can sort that out for you. I think that means, does that mean like the tick?
I think that means on social media. Oh, guys, you don't even need to be verified. We can sort that out with Instagram for you. Great. Good to know.
He's got contacts. You must, house music and R&B lovers only, no heavy rock or pop music. Oh, I'd be out. I love
some pop music.
Yep. You must like Netflix, especially Money Heist and also Real Crime. No chick flicks. Watch them with your mates. You need to be confident enough to be able to go to the front of the queue in nightclubs and accept a table and free drinks from the owners. You will need a driving license to share a Bentley and a Lamborghini Jeep pending. You must never have shared a teeth whitening post. I'm not on any dating sites, you shouldn't be too. I'm not on OnlyFans, so you shouldn't be too. Lots
That seems fair.
That seems fair.
The one thing I picked out when I retweeted it is he sells shitty ketone supplements. So I love that he's like, no, definitely no teeth whitening, but I'll sell supplements that don't work. You'll have to promote my supplements. Piss off.
I know. Let's see, is there anything else? Accept and love my children and grandchildren and realize no more kids for me. I said something about baggage. He's like,
this is my least favorite line.
What?
Be intelligent but not boring.
Oh, yes. Oh, that's not cool, because he obviously thinks that intelligent women are boring.
I couldn't think of anyone more boring.
Absolutely.
Like, what will he even say?
Yeah. I actually think he's taking the piss. He's clearly taking the piss, isn't he? I don't think he wants a girlfriend. Like, would that post work?
Do you know what? Unfortunately, it's probably some really like just want to climb the social ladder type girls that would be like, yeah.
There's quite a few comments on it. There's, in fact, like almost 14,000 comments on it.
There's quite a few.
Yeah, there's quite a few. And there is quite a lot of like, girls being like, hi Wayne, it's me, Emma. How you doing? I work from my laptop. I do Arbonne, so I wouldn't need to stay at home. I would come, whatever. And there is actually like quite a few girls tagging their friends, being like, this would suit you, hun.
Oh God. That must be a joke.
Someone's written, hi Wayne, Faith here from Rotherham, just dropping you a line as I think would be a match. I think you'd love my HD stretch marks and the definition of my bingo wings. I have a child who loves to pretend to be a dog, so no issues there. Oh wait, have a driving license and would also insure you on my Peugeot 3008 with dint in the side. Sounds like an offer you can't refuse. Lots of love from your future Queen of Ibiza.
Oh, amazing.
Yeah. So ladies,
Okay, well, I think that neatly rounds us off. If
yeah,
anyone is thinking of applying, feel free to send us your like application forms for us to proofread.
for Wayne Lineker. No, ladies, just don't do it. Don't do it. Hold off. Lockdown hopefully will end soon, and then you can go out and meet men the proper way, not have to shack up with 58-year-old men children.
Okay. At least he probably has the mental age of like 20 anyway, so.
Well, that was fun. Thanks, Emma.
Okay, bye.